While it wasn't quite the space race, the Rockets nevertheless won the Dwight Howard sweepstakes, beating the other teams in the NBA in order to get the much maligned but much awarded center in Dwight Howard. Now with a team that could start Jeremy Lin, James Harden, Chandler Bang, or Chandler Parsons as he's more commonly known, and D12, how far can these Rockets go? With me, I have our basketball experts in Lucas and Andrew Park. Now I'm going to go first to Lucas. Lucas, how far can these Rockets go in the Western Conference?
If everything goes to plan, if Dwight Howard goes back to circa 2009 with the Orlando Magic and is the most dominant big man in the NBA, which if he's right in the head, then he should be doing that because he should be super motivated to prove to silence all his critics and all his doubters that are just saying that he's the most clueless, most indecisive, like including me. I'm one of them. I'm number one right there. Most indecisive, most clueless, most doesn't know how to talk, shouldn't speak. If he is motivated and playing like he was, James Harden, I believe in James Harden. I think James Harden is the superstar amongst superstars. He is only 23 years old.
After one season as a starter.
His ceiling is so high. I mean, people are comparing him to Kobe Bryant, which it's a little unfair to him, but he is that good of a scorer. I think they can make it to the Western Conference Finals, and that is if everything goes according to plan. Because if Dwight Howard is motivated and he looks like 2009 Dwight Howard, they're going to be a scary team because the combination of James Harden scoring, that 1-2 punch, the pick and roll, and Dwight Howard controlling the paint and kicking out to Parsons and Harden. I really like what they go on out there. Jeremy Lin, suitable point guard. But, the Oklahoma City Thunder don't really have a true point guard. The Miami Heat, Mario Chalmers is okay. So, the point guard spot, it's not do or die for me. So I think they can make it to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think they can get past OKC, though.
Oh, wow. So you have the Houston Rockets as the top two teams in the Western Conference. Now, Andrew, he just brought up...
That is if Dwight is motivated and wants to win. And that's a big if.
With the caveat that Dwight Howard does as he promises. Andrew, he just brought up Kobe comparisons to James Harden. Is this warranted?
Well, I can definitely see why he says that because James Harden is today an unparalleled scorer. He can score at will. He can hurt you from outside. He's a much better three-point shooter than Kobe ever was. I'll give you that. And he can get to the cup. And he is also, he's also Houston's primary ball handler, and his passing is also unrivaled, and he can do really well with that. So, I think that right now the Houston Rockets, their potential is, their ceiling is very high. I think they can get all the way to the finals if, again, I'm with Lucas in this, if Dwight Howard is motivated. Because let's remember, today I would like to point out that Steve Nash appeared on ESPN 710 AM, which is the flagship station of the Los Angeles Lakers, which I listen to on a daily basis.
Our LA expert showing his roots.
Yeah. Well, one thing that Steve Nash said in that interview was that he felt that Dwight Howard never really wanted to stay there, never really got the feel of being a Laker, never really got the feel of what it meant to play in Staples Center under the many Raptors. Now, granted, being in Houston, he doesn't have that big of those big shoes to fill. However, he does have to follow the steps of quite possibly the most dominant post player ever to play the game in Hakeem Olajuwon, and he needs to show that he wants to be there and he's committed to play there. And like Lucas said, I totally agree with him in that if he goes back to when he carried that Orlando Magic team to the NBA Finals, I think that the Houston Rockets can do a lot of damage because let's look at that Orlando Magic lineup when he brought them to the finals in 2009. It was him, Jameer Nelson, Rashard Lewis, Hedo Turkoglu, right. Courtney Lee. It's not exactly a bunch of all-stars that you have there. And James Harden is, by far, I think he's one of the hottest rising stars in the league. Chandler Parsons, I think, is also on the up. His stock is going way up after his performance this past year. This is the first season where he actually got dedicated minutes towards him. So I think right now the Houston Rockets are in a prime position to do it. And I think they can even go past the Oklahoma City Thunder in that, in the first round of the playoffs last year, the reason they couldn't get past the Thunder was because of the lack of defense inside, and that is exactly what Dwight Howard brings. Dwight Howard is, I think, a very huge Achilles heel to the Thunder in that they don't have many answers to him down low. I mean, you have Kendrick Perkins. Are you kidding me? He's going to stop him? No, I don't think so. Serge Ibaka isn't long enough. He's 6'9" with shoes on. So I think the Rockets, we'll see what other moves they'll get. I mean, they lost Carlos Delfino, who came into the clutch many times during the playoffs. But I think that, again, Houston is a very dangerous team to be reckoned with. I think they can go all the way to the finals if and only if Dwight Howard takes them there and goes back to his 2009 form.
Oh wow! So,
to your point, may I please talk?
Yeah. You got the floor.
After he just gave the Emancipation Proclamation over here, Dwight Howard and the Lakers, and oh my God! But here's what I think: Dwight Howard, of course, he didn't want to go to the Lakers. His whole deal, he just wanted to go to the Nets. And then when he got to the Lakers, they didn't listen to him. They didn't hire Phil Jackson. There's been a lot of dirt been digging up about Kobe Bryant that all these guys just don't want to play with him. They're just not a fan of wanting to play with him. And it's a little odd to hear that because he's been such a winner. It's a little hard to hear that, at least because I've been such a big fan. But apparently all these guys don't want to play for Kobe Bryant. But Dwight Howard, he never wanted to go to LA. Everyone knows that. He wanted to go to the Nets. That was his first choice. He was lobbying for Phil Jackson. They ignored him. So he had no reason to be happy there. He knew they weren't going to win. So he wasn't happy. He wanted to be. He would have been happy with the Lakers if they listened to him and they had a chance to win and Phil Jackson was the coach. Then he would have been happy. He wasn't happy because this new Jim Buss guy doesn't know what he's doing. The new guy running the Los Angeles Lakers, and it's a shame. And Dwight Howard, he recognized that this guy doesn't know what he's doing, and he wanted to leave. He wanted to win, which is why he went to the Houston Rockets. And the Mikhail Olajuwon, who better to tutor Dwight Howard than Akeem Olajuwon and Kevin McHale? Kevin McHale, one of the best post players, power forwards ever played the game, and Akeem Olajuwon, the Dream, one of the best centers ever played the game. So them two tutoring Dwight. For Houston, for the smaller media, it's a very good spot for him to succeed. It's just a matter of him being dedicated and him being happy.
All right, so now I have to ask you guys. You guys both place it on the fact that Dwight Howard has to fulfill his promise, his potential. Now, what happens if he's just what he was last year? A very good player, but not a guy that's going to launch you guys into the next category. Then where does that leave Houston? Andrew?
Well, that leaves Houston in what I like to call the Atlanta Hawks syndrome, where they're really good, they're really solid, but they can never get past the semifinals of the playoffs. I remember those days of the Atlanta Hawks of Joe Johnson, Al Horford, Josh Smith. That was a solid team, and they were a fun team to watch, but they just weren't good enough. They just didn't have that. And if Dwight Howard doesn't bring that superstar, if he isn't who he was before coming over to the Lakers and before the whole Dwight Mare fiasco happened, then the Rockets are going to be mired in the middle. They're going to be constant third, fourth, fifth seed in the West. And they're going to be playing second fiddle to OKC, Golden State, the Clippers, the Memphis Grizzlies, I think, San Antonio Spurs. See, the thing about the West is that's so wide open that if the Houston Rockets do not perform at their best, they're not going to get out of the conference.
I don't know if you could say the West. I mean, the West, it's not so wide open. I mean, I think there are 4 or 5 teams that could potentially, 3 or 4 teams that could potentially win the West. So I don't consider it, completely wide, up for grabs. But in terms of Dwight Howard, look, he's coming off the back surgery. He should be more healthy this year. People say he wasn't close to 100% last year. Who knows? But I think that he'll be healthier this year, and he'll have more. His shoulder will be better. So I think he'll be healthy, and he should be better. He can't be worse than he was last year. He can't be worse than he was last year. He was terrible.
Yeah, although we must remember that Dwight Howard did lead the league in rebounding. And no matter what they say, you can't imagine that Houston fans 2 years ago would have imagined that everyone would be talking about them getting to at least the playoffs. That's it for today's edition of The Final Points. If you liked what you saw, make sure to subscribe by clicking the annotation over here.